Myself, Professor D.G. Kuberkar, heading the Department of Nanoscience and Advanced Materials at Saurashtra University, Rajkot, Gujarat, India. Today, I will deliver a talk on the fundamentals of nanoscience and nanotechnology. You may be aware that variety of science streams are presently being taught and learned at graduation postgraduate level, but a science which deals with all the types of sciences is called as nanoscience. Today I will talk about few basic aspects of nanoscience and also give the importance of nanotechnology in the day-to-day life. This is my department from where I am delivering this talk. A visionary physicist, Richard Feynman, his birthday falls on 29th of December. He once gave an invited talk at the American Physical Society meeting, and he said that there is a plenty of room at the bottom. This sentence is a very important because in the year 1959, Richard Feynman, he thought about the importance of the materials when the size of the particle goes to the nano size. So, such a visionary physicist, he dreamt of nanoscience and nanotechnology way back almost 50 years. So that is why today we are seeing the development of nanoscience and nanotechnology. Nanoscience and nanotechnology is an interdisciplinary philosophy which involves nanochemistry, nanobiology, nanoengineering, nanophysics and everything, and hence this is also called as a convolutionary science which takes care of all the sciences. If we look into the involvement of nanotechnology, the number of scientists or the people working in the biology aspect of nanotechnology are maximum number, followed by the technology aspect or applications of nanoscience, then comes the physics, chemistry, and then mathematics and computers. So all the science people are involved in the development of nanoscience and nanotechnology. What is nano now? Actually, the size of the particle, if it is 1 to 100 nanometers, then it is called as a nanoparticle. What is nano for a layman? Nano means 1/1,000,000th of the size of a human hair. Human hair is very small. If you make the pieces of human hair and if we take 1/1,000,000th of the size of human hair, that is called as a nano. Nano in technically is 10 raised to minus 9 meters. So nanoscience is the study of the fundamental principles of molecules and structures with at least one of the dimensions in the range of 1 to 100 nanometers. The particles having this size are called as nanoparticles. There are different aspects of nano. Other is called as nanostructures. Nanostructures are the structures which are built using nanoparticles. Nanofabrication, if we want to fabricate the devices using nanoparticles or nanomaterials, then the nanofabrication techniques are used. And all these things, when we use for any applications, it is called as nanotechnology. Now, what is nanotechnology? It's a creation of functional materials, devices and systems through the control of nanosized particles, exploiting novel properties and phenomena. The slide shows variety of size of particles in the living and non-living organisms, and you can see that the size of the viruses, size of the DNA, RNA, all these lies in the nano regime. So how big is the nano? Suppose you see that the size of a child is there. If you expand his hand, which is around 3 to 4 inches, you expand the finger size is already given, and then if you see the flicker of an eye and the human hair. Once you cross the human hair, which is a micron size, then comes the micrometer RBCs, WBCs, which are of the micron size, that is 10 raised to minus 6. If we see below the micron size, then we come across the DNA, RNA sequences, viruses, which are in the nano regime or nanoscale. Bacteria lies in the micron size particles, whereas the viruses lies in the nano size dimensions. Now, if we want to understand, if we have a hand, if you see and if you magnify the part of a hand which is around 10 centimeters, you magnify it to 1 centimeter, you will see the cells. Then if you expand it more, magnify, you can see the cell walls, which are human cell walls. Then if you go below that 100 microns, then 10 microns, these are nothing but all the cells which are arranged there. And if you go below that, then you have 1 micron, then 100 micron. These you start with the what you call as the DNA RNA sequences, which are in the range of 1 nanometer to 10 nanometers. So if you see that if you go on magnifying the part of your human hand, you can go to the regime where you can see the nano, that is 10 raised to minus 9 size. Nano is existing in nature everywhere. Nano is not new. It is existing in the nature. You can see the colors of the wings of this butterfly, very beautiful colors of the feathers of a peacock. This is all because of naturally occurring nanoparticles. These are the particles which are present on the wings of the butterfly and the peacock feathers. As you know, very famous relationship in physics, E is equal to hc upon lambda, where lambda is the wavelength of the light. The lambda changes, resulting in the change in the color, because as the size of the particle changes, the surface energy changes, and hence the particle, the density, that also changes, and because of the stability of the particle changes, the energy also changes. So E is inversely proportional to lambda, and therefore you can see that large number of colors and beautiful colors are seen. This is a naturally occurring nano. So very important property of physical property is that with the size change, particle size change, the color also changes, and this is a very important property of the nanomaterials. You can see another example, nano in nature, that is the lotus leaves. These lotus leaves are hydrophobic in nature. You can see here, if we put a water droplet on the lotus leaves, they never stick to the lotus leaf, they do not wet the lotus leaf, and they will be moved, or they will move away from the lotus leaf, and this is called as hydrophobic nature. So the nanoparticles or nanomaterials, they are highly hydrophobic in nature. This is nano existing in nature. Why nanomaterials are so important? Because they have got size dependent physico-chemical properties. They have large surface to volume ratio, and very important property that we can organize the nanoparticles in the assembling or in assembling manner. Therefore we can see that biological systems can be developed. We can organize the biological systems at the nanoscales, and we have non-biomaterials are also assembled at the nanoscales. This is a very important property of the nanomaterials, and therefore nanomaterials are very important. There are 4 generations of nanotechnology. The first generation nanotechnology, that is a passive nanostructures. Then we have active nanostructures, second generation. Third generation is the nanosystems, and now we are talking about the 4th generation nanotechnology, that is molecular nanomagnetism and nanotechnology, where the molecular machines, molecular engines will be developed, and very soon it will be a reality for the betterment of the human beings. So what is the future of nanotechnology? Initial years, when we started from 1980s, mid-80s, initially it was the development of the nanoparticles. People started synthesizing new nanoparticles, nanoassemblies, biological materials, non-biological materials. Then people started understanding the relationship between nano and micron size particles. So this is the innovation part. Initially, for 10 to 15 years, people started innovating in the field of nanomaterials and nanotechnology. Now, After 2015 onwards, last 2 3 years, there is an era where there is a revolution in the field of nanoscience and nanotechnology. So we talk about the science that is called as nanobioscience, nano information, nano economics, nano. So everywhere, all the sciences, they will be always having a nano aspect, which is a very, very important revolution for the human beings. Now, how to make a nanoparticle? That means how to approach the nano dimension, because this dimension is very, very small. It is 10 raised to minus 9 meters, as I told you. There are two fundamental ways or approaches. The first is called as top-down approach, and the second one is called as bottom-up approach. Top-down approach, you can see on the slide. This is a very, very important World Heritage Site, UNESCO Heritage Site. It is a cave number 16 in the Ellora Caves near Aurangabad in Maharashtra. This is called as Kailash Cave, cave number 16. A monolith cave which is carved out from a very big mountain, and the size of the carving on the black stone is of the order of 1 millimeter. So you start with a very big thing and then you make it a smaller and smaller. It is called as a top-down approach, which is a physical approach. The second approach can be seen in the slide, which is called as bottom-up approach. You can see the pyramids of Egypt. The starting things are extremely small, fine particles of the sand. The size is around 1 millimeter or less than 1 millimeter also. And one can build up very large pyramids of 7 or 8 stories tall, and this is called as a bottom-up approach or a chemical approach, which is used for the nanofabrication or nanosynthesis. Now, applications of nanotechnology. Very important applications in the new innovations of nanotechnology is the molecular nanotechnology. Here, the biology and physics, they are coming together using the chemistry approach, making the molecular engines, molecular motors. This is not remaining a dream, but now it will become reality very soon. In some of the countries, the nano machines, nano bio machines are already being tested. Then in the day-to-day life, very big applications of nanoscience or nanomaterials is the nanocosmetics. Here we are harmonizing the science with the beauty, because all the nanocosmetics, they are bio-friendly, they are non-hazardous, and they are long life, and their usage is very minimal. You can have very good results in these nanocosmetics. There are large number of innovative applications in the medicine and drugs, nanobiotechnology, nano devices, new type of devices which are used in optoelectronics, TV technology, display devices. These are all the nano devices. Optical engineering, a new revolution is being witnessed by the people in the optical engineering. Then defense and security, for new type of systems, these nanomaterials are used. Bioengineering, I already discussed. Cosmetics, nanofabrics, I will discuss this also in coming slides. So these are the applications where you talk about the display panels, energy harvesting, sports, toys, consumer goods, medical and diagnostics. Very, very important applications of nanomaterials, nanoscience is in the targeted drug delivery. Very soon the new drugs will be synthesized, which will be carried by the carrier drugs, and they will be released at the infected sites of the disease sites. And here the nanoparticles or the nano drugs will be play a very important role. For this, the use of the physics, chemistry and biology, all the three sciences, they have to join hands together for the medical applications and the diagnostic applications of the nanotechnology. Then coming to a very important aspect of nanoparticles or nanomaterials are existing everywhere. This is a slide which is a very typical sunny day in Stuttgart in Germany, because in Europe, in the winter season, to get a sunny day is a very, very important thing for everybody. So on a sunny day, you can see large number of people are sitting around the table, and there are bicycles, there are people wearing the glasses and the space maker. So you can see that everywhere the nanomaterials are having their applications with various devices. Suppose you see the bicycle, the frames of the bicycles are made up of carbons now. These are carbon composites, where they are lightweight, very strong. Then a man is wearing a pacemaker in near his heart. The pacemaker batteries, they consist of solid electrolytes. These are lithium ion conductors, where the nanomaterials plays a very important role. Then you can see the GPS system, navigation system. In the GPS navigation systems, the materials which are used are the spintronic materials. Then the hard disk of the computers, the storage capacity of the hard disk of the computers is now starting with the 1 terabyte. Now the new hard disks are coming which are having a capacity of 100 terabytes. So this is a very large memory capacity which is possible because of the development and the inventions in the field of the nanoscience and nanomaterial technology. Here the speed of the computers is also becoming very, very high. Now when you are talking about the cosmetics, in the sunny day it is harming, it is giving harm to the skin. So titanium oxide nanocomposites are used to prevent your skin parts from the hazardous UV radiations. So you can see everywhere in all aspects of this slide, the nanomaterials are find their interesting examples or applications. So is nanotechnology new? No, it is not new, but now from the invention of the scanning tunneling microscopy and scanning probe microscopy in 1980s, mid 80s, now we are able to see the nanoparticles, we are able to see and understand the different aspects of the nanotechnology. So you can see here such type of things were existing. Suppose you go back to the early eras of 1400 and 1500, 15th century, 16th century in this Italy, you can see the window panes of the churches. These are beautiful glasses. They are painted with special nano paints where pigments or nanopigments are used and beautiful colors of the glasses can be seen. This is because of the nano paints. So that time people were not knowing that these pigments are nanopigments. Now anti-fogging glasses. This is a very important applications of the nanomaterials. You can see on the left side, because of the fog, the lady is not able to see and there is a problem every time she has to wipe the glasses before seeing anything if she is driving a car or in the winter season. But nowadays, using some new nanomaterials, they are all oxide composites, nanocomposites. If you coat the nanocomposites in a thin layer, very thin layer, using some chemical method or physical method, then the water vapor, the moisture or fog particles will never adhere to the glasses and you will see a clear vision. This is a very important applications of the anti-fogging glasses in the optical or the ophthalmic industry, also in the automobile engineering also. Then self-cleaning glasses. This is a very important applications actually, how the self-cleaning glasses that cleans everything, their own surfaces in a two-step process, and this is very important applications of the nanotechnology in the self-cleaning glasses. Then, as I already told you, cosmetics. Nanotechnology in cosmetics is very important because it will protect your skin from UV and it will have a wrinkle-free effect. So therefore, you will not have the wrinkles on the skin and the damage to the skin or your lips will be prevented using the nanocosmetics. Nanofibers in textile industries. You can see, as I have already told you in the lotus effect slide, that the nanoparticles, they are hydrophobic in nature. Suppose you have zinc oxide, titanium oxide. These are the materials. If you coat them in the nano size over or you put them over the surface of the cloth, and if you want to pour some liquid or the glass, then due to the hydrophobicity, it will not stick on the surface of the cloth, and therefore such type of cloths are being now manufactured. They are already patented and very soon they will come in the market. Raymond Company has already patented a brand name called as Nanotex, where they say that if you wear the nanotextiles, very light nanotextiles in the summer, you feel very comfortable, and the winter also you have to wear, so that the effect of the summer and winter will be taken care. So this is the application of the nanomaterials, nanoscience in the textile industry. This is a very important new nanotech wrinkle-free shirts are coming. Here you have to wash the cloth and directly just put them, and once they are dry, there will be no wrinkles on your shirts. This is because of a special type of coating which is used to cover these cloths, that is the wrinkle-free shirts. Then what will nanotechnology offer? It will offer a good living in the context of good health, because it will give you uncontaminated food. Adulterated food is a very much problem for the human health. Then it will be help to give a water and air which is uncontaminated, clothes, medical help. So therefore nanotechnology is very important for health. Then comforts, as I have already told you and shown you, consumer goods applications, comforts in the house, entertainment, transport, communication, sports, cosmetics, everywhere, more comfortable life can be given using the nanoscience. Another important application of nanotechnology is in the development of nano ink. A company called as Landa Nano Ink has developed a nano ink based on the nanoparticles, which is different from the normal inkjet or offset ink. You can see that the difference between a inkjet printing and a nanography or nano printing. This difference is very important, because the spread is very large in case of a inkjet, whereas in case of a nanography or nano printing, the spread is very small. The size of the thickness of the printing is around 0.5 micron in case of nano, whereas in case of inkjet or offset or other type of printings, it is around 5 microns or less than 5 microns. So this is a very important aspect of application of the nanotechnology in the nano ink. This nano ink that provides the super hard surfaces, they are able to protect the surfaces from the abrasion. So the surface life also increases after using the nano ink for printing. You can see these are the micrographs of a normal ink and a nano ink. Here the surface is the thickness of the nano ink which is deposited on the surface is very less, and the amount of nano ink requirement is also very less for printing as compared to the normal ink or the offset ink. During our research in the field of nanoscience and nanomaterial synthesis and applications, our research collaborations are from UGC DAI CSR Indore, the director and large number of scientists. Then IUSC New Delhi, earlier it was Nuclear Science Center New Delhi. UGC DAI CSR Mumbai, collaboration with ISER Bhopal, collaboration with SSPL Solid State Physics Laboratory New Delhi are the collaborations for the research in the field of. I will show you few slides about the research laboratory which is developed by me in the Department of Physics from 2002 onwards till 2015-16, till I was in the physics department. It's called as Functional Oxide Laboratory. Large number of facilities I have developed in the Department of Physics to the tune of around 3 to 4 crores rupees, and they are being used now presently by the present students and earlier students. We have got X-ray diffractometer with thin film attachment in the Department of Physics, Saurashtra Institute Rajkot, which is in a working condition. We have got a radiant precision multifarad test system for measuring the P loop polarization versus electrical field. This is purchased under my projects. This is also LCR meter with different frequency range from the company for the dielectric measurements. This is a DCRF sputtering unit for making the thin films of metallic systems, there is a DC sputtering, and for oxides we have got a RF power supply, and we can make the films of oxides also. These are different type of other accessories and supporting facilities available in the physics department. P loop tracer, Kitle source meter. We have got a low temperature facility down to 4 Kelvin to measure the resistance and IV of a material. And these are the properties now recently developed in the Department of Nanoscience, Saurashtra University, Rajkot. This is a PQMS, physical quantity measurement system, room temperature to 77 Kelvin, having a liquid nitrogen facility available in the university, and then we can measure the resistivity and susceptibility of a material. This is a unique facility in the state of Gujarat. This is a pulse laser deposition chamber. We can have a multi-target assembly here. 3 targets can be loaded at a time, and then we can make very high quality films out of this PLD chamber. So therefore, this PLD is a facility installed in the Department of Nanoscience using the grants from the Higher Education Department, Government of Gujarat, Gandhinagar. These are the scanning tunneling microscope, which is an indigenous Indian make, which is having a resolution of 0.1 nanometer for studying the conducting surfaces. What is the grain morphology of conducting surfaces? And this is my group of students. I am very lucky to have very good quality students, right from the first student who is a professor in the physics department till the last students who are still working for their PhD. Thank you very much. Thank you.